Before we dive in, Commanders fans, do me a quick favor, hit that like button so more Washington fans can find this video. And if you haven't already, subscribe so you never miss a single update from training camp to Week 18. Trust me, this one's going to stir some emotions. Friday night was supposed to be a warm-up, a chance for rookies to shake off the nerves, for veterans to get just a handful of snaps, and for coaches to start shaping their depth chart. Instead, it turned into the kind of night every fan dreads. The Washington Commanders lost a player for the entire 2025 season. The injury happened in the preseason opener against the New England Patriots. The moment was quick, but you could feel the air get sucked out of the stadium. It wasn't just about losing one guy, it was about what this means for a roster that already had depth concerns in the trenches. We now know it's an ACL tear. No miracle comebacks, no we'll see in a few weeks. He's done for the year. And when you combine that with the fact Sam Cosmi is still working his way back from his own ACL rehab, suddenly the offensive line feels thin. Too thin. This injury isn't happening in a vacuum. The Commanders entered camp knowing they'd have to get creative with their offensive line rotation. Yes, Laremy Tunsil was the big-ticket off-season acquisition, and yes, the left side of the line feels rock solid with him anchoring it. But depth? That's a different story. Losing a versatile backup who could play both guard and tackle in a pinch might not sound catastrophic to a casual fan. But for Dan Quinn and offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury, it's a huge headache. The preseason is when you want to experiment. Slide guys around, see how they respond to game situations. Now, those experiments are going to happen, with fewer options, and that increases the risk of overworking other players. And here's where it really gets serious: Jayden Daniels. This franchise just invested its entire future in a quarterback they believe can be special. You can have the best receiving corps in football, the most creative playbook, and the perfect game plan. But if your QB1 is running for his life, none of that matters. We saw flashes in practice of how this offense could hum when Daniels has time in the pocket. The timing with Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin, when he's on the field, has been sharp. Rookie Ben Sinnott looks like he could be a sneaky safety blanket in the middle of the field, but all of that depends on protection holding up. One more injury to this offensive line, and the Commanders could be in patchwork mode by Week 1. Adam Peters isn't the kind of GM to sit back and hope things just work themselves out. If history is any indicator, we could see Washington make a move, whether that's signing a free agent still on the market, swinging a late preseason trade, or elevating a young guy who's been impressing in camp. Names like Dalton Risner or even a reunion with a veteran swing tackle could come into play. The key is finding someone who can plug in immediately without a long adjustment period. Don't forget, Peters has been aggressive before. The Tunsil deal, the Deebo trade, both came out of nowhere. If he senses even a hint of danger to Daniels' health, he won't hesitate. What's interesting is how the locker room is processing this. From what we've heard, guys aren't sulking. If anything, they're rallying. Frankie Luvu, no surprise, has been vocal about the next man-up mentality. Tunsil, even though he's new here, has been working with younger linemen after practice, giving them tips on footwork and hand placement. It's the kind of leadership you need when adversity hits early. The season hasn't even started, and already this team is being tested. For fans watching the next 2 preseason games, here's what to keep an eye on. Rotation changes. You might see guys like rookie interior linemen getting snaps at tackle just to see if they can handle the edge, quick passing game. Kingsbury may dial up more short throws to get the ball out fast and minimize the exposure of his offensive line. Roster bubble shifts. A player who was 90% likely to be cut last week might now have a real shot at making the 53-man roster simply because the team needs depth. If there's a silver lining, it's that this injury happened now and not in Week 8. Peters and Quinn have time to evaluate, time to adjust, time to make a move if necessary. The preseason is about finding out what you have, and unfortunately, injuries are part of that process. Still, there's no sugarcoating it. Losing a player for the season before Week 1 is a gut punch. It tests your depth, your coaching, and your locker room chemistry. And with a rookie quarterback, those tests are amplified. Terry McLaurin's been the face of the franchise for years. He's been the guy who produced no matter who was throwing him the ball, from rookies to journeymen. And he's carried this offense through some ugly stretches. But now, with just 1 year left on his contract, McLaurin and the Commanders are in a high-stakes staring contest. The goal? A long-term deal before Week 1. The problem? Washington's analytics department isn't seeing the numbers they want to justify a $30 million per year extension for a receiver who's about to turn 32. According to ESPN research, over the last 5 seasons, only 3 receivers aged 31 or older have played 10-plus games and averaged 70 or more receiving yards per game. Expand that to 60 yards per game, you only get 6 names. That's not a lot of company. And when you're running a roster the way GM Adam Peters is, data-heavy, future-focused, you're paying for who you think a player will be in the next 3 seasons, not for what they've done in the last 3. It's cold. It's calculated. But in NFL front offices, that's reality. McLaurin isn't ignoring the age factor, but he's not ready to be written off. I'm not dismissing age completely. There are data points to support that, McLaurin said last month. But how come it's not okay to say this may be a different case? Based on what I've proven, showing no signs of deterioration, that should be acknowledged as well. People making it seem like I need to start getting fitted for a walker and a cane. He's not wrong. On film, McLaurin hasn't lost a step. He's still separating against top corners. He's still producing despite defensive game plans built to stop him. But the Commanders' brass has to weigh whether that will still be true when he's 32 or 33, and whether they're willing to take that gamble at elite WR money. What's happening here is a classic game of chicken. McLaurin knows his value, not just as a receiver, but as a leader and tone setter in that locker room. The Commanders know they have other weapons. Deebo Samuel, Jayden Daniels developing chemistry with young guys like Luke McCaffrey, and they might bet they can still move the ball without overpaying for one guy. Each side is waiting to see who blinks first. The risk? If Washington drags this out too long, McLaurin could hit free agency in 2026 and command a bidding war from a contender. While the McLaurin contract drama takes center stage, Washington quietly rebuilt its cornerback group. And this could be one of the team's sneaky strengths in 2025. Last year's CB situation was a revolving door. Benjamin St-Juste and Emmanuel Forbes, the Week 1 starters, didn't even finish the season in those roles. Injuries to Marshawn Lattimore, emergency moves for Michael Davis and Noah Igbinoghene, and Mike Sainristil playing out of position on the outside, it was chaos. Statistically, Washington's pass defense looked respectable. 4th fewest passing yards allowed, 15th fewest passing TDs, but that was more about teams not needing to throw because they could gash the run defense. Enter. GM Adam Peters' offseason plan drafted Trey Amos at number 61 overall, already getting rave reviews in camp. Amos is penciled in as the starting outside corner opposite Lattimore. Signed Jonathan Jones, bringing speed, experience, and versatility to the group. If Lattimore stays healthy, Amos holds up, and Jones locks. Down the slot, suddenly this unit isn't just passable. It could be one of the best in the NFC. On one hand, you've got a potential strength at CB for the first time in years. On the other, you've got the biggest name on offense in a contract standoff. For Jayden Daniels' rookie season to hit its full potential, keeping McLaurin happy and on the field might be just as important as any defensive upgrade. But if Peters decides to stick to his data-driven guns, the 2025 Commanders could be betting on a future without their longest-tenured offensive star. All right, Commanders Nation, your turn. How concerned are you about the offensive line right now? Do you think Adam Peters should make a move immediately, or should they trust the guys they already have? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's get that debate going. If you're fired up for this season and want to stay locked in with every piece of news from Ashburn to the postseason, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We've got a long season ahead, and it's going to be one heck of a ride.